It happened in front of everyone. A billionaire in a midnight blue suit turned, his voice slicing through the music like a knife. He shouted angrily, "Are you deaf?" I said, "Clear this table. Now!" The crowd went still. Dozens of eyes landed on the woman in the corner. Elena, the maid. Her dark skin glowed in the warm light, but her expression stayed calm. And that's when I realized she wasn't just any maid. Before I tell you what happened next, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Because your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. And let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's dive in. He was worth over $2 billion and made sure the whole world knew it. Vincent Moreau, a man whose name opened doors in every luxury hotel, whose private jet touched down in Paris one morning and Dubai the next. But power, it can make some men cruel. And tonight, that cruelty was on full display. Elena had been working in this mansion for only 3 months. She never spoke unless spoken to. Her uniform was spotless, her posture straight. But Vincent didn't care about any of that. "Do you know how much this champagne costs?" he said, holding up a half-empty glass. She nodded politely. "Yes, sir." "Then why?" he sneered. "Are you standing there doing nothing?" Laughter rippled through a small group of Vincent's friends. They were the kind of people who laughed not because something was funny, but because they wanted to please the man with the money. Elena didn't flinch. Her hands stayed steady on the tray. "I was waiting for you to finish, sir," she said quietly. Vincent smirked, enjoying the moment. "Finish?" "Oh, I'm far from finished." That's when someone noticed it. A small, delicate necklace resting against Elena's collarbone. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't expensive looking. But there was something about it. Something that caught Vincent's attention. "Where did you get that?" he demanded. Her eyes met his. "It was a gift," she replied. "From who?" "My father." Vincent chuckled. A maid with a father who gives jewelry. Interesting. A man in the crowd whispered to his friend, "That's not just any necklace. That's from the royal family of Cairo." The room shifted. Eyes widened. Conversations froze. Vincent's face changed. Arrogance replaced by calculation. "Elena, what's your last name?" he asked. "Al-Masri." The name landed like a thunderclap. Gasps filled the air. The Al-Masri family was one of the wealthiest in the Middle East, known for oil, trade, and influence. Vincent's smirk vanished. The power had just shifted. Elena placed the tray gently on a nearby table. "I took this job," she said, "because I wanted to understand how people treat those they think are beneath them." Her voice was calm, but it carried weight. Vincent swallowed hard. "Miss Al-Masri, I didn't—" "You did," she interrupted, "and everyone here saw it." Vincent didn't move. He stood stranded in the center of his own ballroom, as if someone had pulled the floor out from under him and he was still trying to decide whether to fall. The glow from the chandeliers no longer seemed warm. It cast sharp edges on his face, highlighting every line of strain. No one rushed to fill the silence. Not his business partners. Not the socialites who had been hanging on his every word earlier. One man near the front shifted uncomfortably in his chair, setting his glass down too hard, the soft thud echoing louder than it should have. At the far end of the room, a young couple leaned toward each other. "She destroyed him," the man whispered, half in awe. The woman smirked. "No, she revealed him." Another guest adjusted his cufflinks, avoiding Vincent's gaze entirely, as though even meeting his eyes might taint his own reputation. The orchestra remained motionless. One of the violinists stared down at her bow, her fingers gripping it so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Vincent's hands twitched at his sides, a faint, involuntary movement, the body's way of begging to escape a trap when the mind has no plan. He knew what they were all thinking. He could see it in the way they looked at him with thinly veiled satisfaction. Not one of them would defend him. Not tonight. Not after what they'd just witnessed. At the doorway, Elena paused. Her back was to the room, but she could feel the weight of every stare. She didn't need to turn to know that in this moment she held all the power Vincent thought he owned. The marble floor was cool beneath her shoes, each step forward measured, unhurried. A quiet declaration that she had nothing to run from. Outside, the night air touched her face like a blessing. She inhaled deeply, breathing in the scent of wet stone and city lights. Behind her, the heavy double doors stayed shut. She could picture the room exactly. Vincent pretending to straighten his jacket, guests exchanging loaded glances, conversations starting up again in low murmurs that would carry his name long after she was gone. She thought of her father and how he had taught her that dignity was not a gift someone could give you. It was a choice you made every day, especially when it was hardest. Tonight, she had made that choice. Somewhere behind those walls, Vincent would attempt to salvage what was left of the evening. He'd laugh too loudly, make a few empty jokes, order another bottle of wine he wouldn't finish. But the truth was out now, and truth has a way of staying in the room long after the person it's about has left. Elena stepped off the last marble stair onto the street. A soft drizzle had started, catching in the glow of the street lamps and turning the air into gold-speckled mist. The necklace at her throat felt warmer now, as though her father's hand had rested there for just a moment. She let the quiet sink in, the kind of quiet that follows a storm when the air feels charged and clean. And then she spoke aloud, though no one was there to hear it. Power isn't measured by what you can take from people. It's measured by how you treat them when you have nothing to gain. Her voice was steady. No bitterness, no anger, only certainty. Because one day, the people who are ignored, mocked, or underestimated will be the ones standing in the places you never thought they could reach. And when that day comes, titles, fortunes, and influence won't shield you from the truth. Elena adjusted the strap of her bag, pulled her coat a little tighter, and began walking down the quiet street. Her heels clicked against the wet pavement, each sound fading into the night. Above her, the sky stretched wide and dark, street lamps casting halos in the drizzle, and her father's necklace caught the light like a quiet crown, a reminder that the richest thing she owned was her self-respect.